for most families. And we all know kids like me. There are millions of kids like me who did everything that was asked of them, everything. They studied hard, they stayed out of trouble, they did their homework, joined every extracurricular, they applied and got into the school of their choice, but then they looked at the cost and said, I can't put my family through this, it's too expensive. So they forgo their dreams, and then the few of us that take the risk and make that financial investment, take out those loans, we get to the end of our 4 or 5 years or whatever our degree is, and we find that we're so mired in debt that we still can't pursue the careers of our dreams. You can't afford to be a teacher, a social worker, a nurse, a government worker, because the cost of the degree to get the job can't be paid off by the salary that you earn. And young people know this. We know this, Barack and I. We are 3 years outside of paying down our educational debt because we went to those good schools and we took out loans, and I'm still waiting for Barack's trust fund to come in. Especially after I heard about that Cheney relationship thing, I thought, this might work out. But alas, with every job we took, because we did what we thought was asked, what people would want us to do. As you get an education, you prepare, and you bring those gifts back to your community. And that's what we did. We didn't stay in the corporate sector. We worked in the community and we made less money. So at a time when we should be paying and saving for our children's college education, like many young Americans, we hadn't paid off our own debt. The only reason why we're not in debt today is because Barack wrote 2 best-selling books, but that is not a sound financial plan. We were lucky. And it shouldn't be based on luck, because it's not as if we weren't working hard, trying to do the right thing. But there are millions of couples like us with their MAs and their PhDs and their MPHs, and they're in debt. And they can't save for their children's college and health care. We're a nation in debt. Not because we are living extravagantly, but because somebody got sick. And even if you have insurance, deductibles and premiums are so high that if you really get sick, you're still in a position of having to put medication and treatments on credit cards, and you're sunk. And retirement, that is becoming more of an elusive thing. And let me tell you, I am standing here up straight, breathing, because of my 70-year-old mother that is at home right now with my girls. And she is there because she was able to retire partially from that pension that my father left her from the job that doesn't exist anymore. You see, and I'm being selfish on this one because we need our grandparents. Because there's nothing like grandma when you have to work and hold down a career to pay off your debt and save for your children's college, because child care is not what it needs to be. And young parents out here, you can't breathe if you don't know that your kids aren't healthy and happy and whole. We need our grandparents to be secure in their own situations and not struggling to pay for their own rent and their medication, when we need them to be helping raise the next generation, but we're not there. And we know it. And see, what Barack says is our greatest challenge is not that we are suffering from a deficit of resources, because there's money here. We're one of the wealthiest nations in the world. And Barack says it's not because we are suffering from a deficit of policies and plans. I mean, I'm like you, I want to know a good plan like the next person. I want to know the details. But the truth of the matter is that some of this stuff is just not that hard. We know most of these answers, even if you take public education. We know what good schools look like. You know why? Because thousands of them exist all over this country, with the right class size, the right teacher training, with the right resources, with the right parent preparation. They exist because all of us are struggling to get our kids in those few good public schools. We sign them up when they're 2, we're calling the congressman, we're all finagling to get our kids in these few schools. So we know how to build them. The challenge is that we haven't found the will to ensure that those kind of schools are available for all our kids. Right here and right now is that we are suffering from a deficit of empathy. And that isn't a small point. It isn't a small point because if we don't understand in this nation that we have a mutual obligation to one another, that we are only as strong as the weakest of us, that deep down inside, we are one another's brothers and keepers, sisters keepers, that's the only way we survive. But we've lost that sense because we've had leaders that haven't asked us or demanded that we sacrifice and compromise for one another. And what Barack understands is that it is difficult to ask people to compromise and sacrifice for people that they don't think they have anything in common with. That's that isolation again. Because if they keep us separated and divided and fearful and mad, then you think that those folks that you're sacrificing for are not like you. And that's not the truth. The truth is that we are so close. You know, what I've learned traveling around this country and watching this primary, it has been beautiful and touching to know that this country wants to do better. That people in their hearts are tired of the division and the pettiness. They're ready to push through this nonsense and try to get to some answers. But you know what? We need leadership to do that. We have to be inspired to be better first. Our answers lie right within us.
Right.
And at some level, our souls are broken. And when you look at things like the fact that we're a nation at war right now, we're at war right now. And the only people who are compromising and sacrificing are the soldiers who are over there dying and fighting in their families. Our leadership has told us, don't worry about it, just keep shopping. We haven't been asked to pay a tax, to collect a can, to darn a sock, nothing. And then we have the audacity, need I steal a phrase from my husband, to have those men and women coming back to a nation that's not providing them with the resources they need to make their lives home. There's something broken in our souls when that happens. It is about inspiration.